That is so huge for us. It is growing rapidly, and we're just really thankful for you guys. Again, this has been a tremendous growth period for us over the last, really since about a year ago, since about last October. Explosive growth for Buckeye Scoop and the Scoop family. So we appreciate you guys. Shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. I haven't done that in a little bit, but we need to get back to that because I like to hear where you guys are watching from, who you're watching with, and again, what do you specifically want to see in the film breakdowns? Again, we love breaking the stuff down, kind of giving you guys a little bit of an idea of what's going on. And I think that a lot of people have really enjoyed it because we like to really make it down, make it nice and simple, teach you guys some ball, give you guys some stories, and have some fun and a little bit of comedic relief. Speaking of comedic relief, I'm going to bring in my good friend Nevada to talk a little bit about Ward Manuel, Nevada, Ward Manuel, and the M-Den have had a very interesting run since 2020. Article came out today. M-Den is insolvent. They were distributing money. They were bouncing checks to the University of Michigan. Truly bizarre behavior between them. And Ward Manuel gave them maybe the longest leash I've ever seen for a retailer, but the egg is on his face as they're not going to collect any of the royalties that they should have been due the last few years. But what are your thoughts on what was released today regarding Ward Manuel and a $3.5 million check that bounced between him and the M-Den?
Well, a truly bizarre story. And, I think that I'm always amazed whenever I see people in kind of public service, like government jobs or the like, because I always laugh at how they treat money, and I always contrast that to how they would treat it if they were in private business and it was their own money. But if you're a supporter of Michigan athletics, if you're a booster, if you're anybody who contributes money there, you have to be wondering what in the heck is going on up there. Story comes out today. We've been following the bankruptcy of the M-Den, but it turns out the M-Den has been basically insolvent since 2020. And all this time, despite their insolvency, Ward Manuel's continued to allow them to operate as the exclusive lights or the primary licensee for Michigan football, despite missing payments, despite bouncing checks, despite making distributions, like seven-figure distributions to the owners while not paying the royalties to their vendors, and primarily their primary vendor being the University of Michigan. And as recently as January, somehow they were asking for payment from the M-Den, so the M-Den sent a runner over who dropped off, I believe it was 3.8 million, might have been 3.5, but like right around 3.5 to 3.8 million dollar check, and didn't bother to tell anybody that he dropped off this big check. So this big check just sat in some pile of papers there at Michigan, and then finally somebody found it, and then when they went to deposit the check bounced. So I mean, just a complete and utter financial nightmare. You kind of opened the show by saying, how does Ward Manuel have a job? I have no idea. This guy is so incompetent. We've chronicled the problems of in the hockey program, in the basketball program, in the football program, and now you throw on a level of financial malfeasance. It's absolutely stunning. I mean, I'm if this was Ohio State and I was somebody who's donating money as I have to Ohio State, I would be asking for heads to roll, because you can't just do this. You can't just allow somebody to operate when they've been financially insolvent for 4 years and they're your primary licensee for Michigan sports and Michigan athletics. It's crazy what's going on up there. The story just keeps getting weirder. But the one consistent theme and the whole reason that I thought that this was a lively topic and an appropriate topic, it just paints a picture of what's going on up there. And that's the type of stuff that does not happen in a well-run organization. That does not happen in an organization where there are controls and boundaries and monitors and things that are set up to prevent things like this happening. That only happens when it's a clown show. And so what happens when it's a clown show? Anything goes. Checks bounce, licensees go on for years without paying, football coaches flout the rules, tell recruiting coordinators to go over the line and break the rules. Basketball coaches assault other players, hockey coaches falsify medical records. I mean, that Michigan athletic program needs to be completely burned down to the ground, and they need to start over. And I think the only thing I think the only thing that's propping him up right now, because I asked the question, how does he have the job? It's got to be that he's seeing Michigan football through to the summary execution. And once that happens, he'll be gone. Yoko Ono will be gone. Sharon Moore will be gone. Jim Harbaugh's already gone. Fredo Harbaugh's already gone. All the coordinators are gone. I think there's just got to be a clean start for Michigan athletics, and they just got to start over. They got to start from ground zero. I know it's probably going to take them 7 to 10 years to get back to even being, relevant. But I think that's the price that you pay for years and years of neglect, financial malpractice, and just a total lack of institutional control being played out in front of everybody. And again, that reporting that we're talking about today, that's not Nevadabuck and Kirk Barton talking about whatever. That's Detroit Free Press. So, guys, this is all documented. It's all there. Stop blaming us for your guys' problems. So you guys are like, why do you guys talk about Michigan? Well, stop breaking the rules. Stop doing stupid things, and we'll stop talking about it. We're not talking about Purdue. We're not talking about, Michigan State. At least stop doing stupid things. You guys continue to do stupid things, and you give us so much material. So, Ward Manuel, what a buffoon. Not sure how he has a job, but on the other hand, I know how he has a job because he's going to be sacrificed to the powers that be.
Yeah, and for us with Buckeye Scoop, we have fantastic partnerships with Twin Peaks, Buffalo Wild Wings, Town Hall, Mandrake. We're adding new sponsors soon. Mickey Mart. It's just one of those things where we've got a great relationship. And again, please patronize all those spots. They're fantastic places, great ownership, people that love Buckeye Scoop and they wear the gear, they love the gear, they love the brand. So again, patronize our sponsors. But we've got a good working relationship with them where, we promote them, we do what we do. We have a nice, they pay us, we have a pay structure. So, and obviously ours is nowhere near what this Michigan deal was, where there's a $3.5 million outstanding check. And again, if I'm the board of regents and I'm the people that are in charge of Ward Manuel, I'd say, how can you let this check go for that long? Because again, if you knew that this thing was going underwater, this MDEN, then let's get rid of them and find a new official retail partner. If it has to be Fanatics or whatever. Ohio State has Buckeye Corner and a bunch of other ones that are the official partners of selling the gear. And in general, to me, that means that they sell the Nike stuff. They sell the official stuff that's on the sideline because that's what most of the fan base fiends for. They want the latest coaching polo, or they want Ryan Day's hooded sweatshirt or hat or whatever. And so that's kind of the price to carry that is you're the you're the official partner of Ohio State, and you have to pay for that. You have to pay a lot for that. So there's some stores that probably don't think it's worth it, but then there's some that are like, well, if we have this official Nike stuff, this is what the people really want. So whatever. So the Michigan, this is 4 years now. Of not collecting money and extending stuff. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall or recorded those meetings where you're sitting with these guys and, I'd love to be Ward Manuel or whoever and ask these people, hey guys, you guys owe us $3.5 million for the licensing for the last 4 years. Where's the check at? It's, oh, we dropped it off. Where'd you put it? Oh, we put it in a encyclopedia in the library. So it's there though, but we dropped it off. So yeah, technically they did drop it off, but they put it under a phone book in the back of the janitor's closet or something. And then someone found it. They, of course, could you imagine Nevada, if you're this little intern or this little Geppetto walking around and all of a sudden you're digging around, oh, here's an envelope. Oh, it's from the M. And you take a little thing out and open it and you get it. It's a check for $3.5 million. You're just how would you react? The first thing I do if I'm the athletic director, I'm like, guys, what the F? This is we've been looking for this. You guys said you're going to have it and you left it here under a stack of notepads or whatever. So how would you react? If imagine you're the athletic director and you're at Michigan and you find, and someone brings you this check, what is the first thing you're saying to the people that are running MDEN at that point?
Well, nobody just allows people to kind of like drop checks off and not know that they're coming. I mean, in an era of wire transfers and it, look, and if you want the money that bad, I got an idea. Okay, how about send somebody over to pick it up? Send over one of your Michigan Geppettos while they're not, trying to troll the internet for 9-year-old girls to whatever. Send one of the other ones over there to go get the check and bring it back and do the thing. And it wasn't even like they didn't even own 3.5 million. They owned 8.8 million, and this was a partial payment on the amount of money owed. It just the whole story. It just reeks of. I mean, can you imagine how out of control Michigan is? Can you imagine that they just misplaced the 3.5 million, that nobody knew that it stopped by, and obviously the MDM was playing games with them in terms of dropping it off, and that check was never going to be any good, and that's why it bounced. But the fact that Michigan's not even asking the questions about it is just crazy. I mean, for a business that was insolvent 4 years ago, they've got 14 million in liabilities and like $370,000 in cash on hand, and somehow Michigan allowed them just to tootle along all these years and fritter away all these things. And what does it matter to Ward Manuel? I always say in these situations, it's not his money, so he's like, I don't care. Screw the boosters. These guys, screw the big donors and the endowment and everybody else like that. It doesn't matter. We got plenty of money. But yeah, it just paints a picture of an organization that is just completely out of control, and it's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for them, and I don't even like Michigan, but that type of stuff just offends me as a business person to think that they don't even have financial controls in place to make sure that their vendors are paying them. That just like I said, it's a mirror situation to what was going on with the sports programs. They just don't have any control over what's going on there. They roll the ball out there. They hope things good happen to them. And last year, all the worlds lined up and the cheating worked, and they were able to steal a championship. And Ward Manuel's like, wow, I'm the smartest guy in the world. But now the payment's coming due, and Ward ain't so smart anymore.
Well, like if I ran the board of trustees, and I was the chairman, which would be an amazing position for me, I would literally, one of the biggest metrics I would have for my athletic director is, okay, here's the money that you've been promised, and here's how much you've collected. Because again, like this is just a metric that I would benchmark. Because I know for a fact that Ohio State there are some people that have made humongous pledges to the athletic department, and then when it comes time to cut the check, man, all of a sudden you can't find them, can't get a hold of them, and I mean, there's been some big names that have had their names crowballed off the walls in the Woody Hayes because they didn't write the check. They said, "Oh, I'm going to give $250,000, $500,000," and then hey, what about that check? Check never comes because they do the whole shebang. Like they put their name on the wall and big sign and the this family office or this family hallway or whatever, and they don't write the check. So again, like I mean, I know that you're neurotic about making sure the numbers are right. So when you're in an athletic department and you're missing $8.8 million, like that's a huge amount of money. As much as people like these athletic, I mean, and Ohio State leads the nation in revenue seemingly every year now because we have home football games and we have like 5 concerts and we have a hockey game. We have everything in the world for the horseshoe now. So, but like missing out on 8.8 million is enough. I think that's a fireable offense, in my opinion. Maybe I'm crazy, but yeah. Let's switch gears, Nevada. So it's the bye week. These kids got 3 hard practices. Ryan's put the screws to them. A little bit of an edge inside the building right now, where Ryan is not taking it easy on these guys. There's no laurels being rested on, and there are some jobs up for grabs right now, which is very interesting given the fact that we started off so hot. But there's some guys that could play better. And again, I think Ryan is smart to keep sparking competition amongst the first and second string guys. What are your thoughts on what's going on in the Woody Hayes right now? These kids got practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then they're out of here Friday, Saturday, but they have to be back early Sunday. So this isn't an extended vacation. And I'm sure that a lot of these kids will be on the first thing smoking out of John Glenn International Airport on Friday morning. If not, I don't know if they can get out here Thursday night. Maybe they can, but it's going to be interesting to see how long they can get out for. But what are your thoughts on what's going on?
Well, I think Ryan's got some really unique challenges. You've got a team that's coming off. Forget the opponent. Just statistically, one of the best games in school history. You've got a defense that's given up 3 points a game. That in offense that ran up 682 yards, and then and then you've got the complication of all these college kids that have got just a tremendous amount of wealth already. So you talk about not being able to get on Thursday night. Hey, rent the private jet to get out there on Thursday night and head down to South Florida. And we laugh about that, but that could absolutely happen, man. With these guys, the amount of money these guys are making, if they want to do it, they wanted to fly out there and they'll do it. And that's never been the case before. This is kind of a unique challenge for that Ryan Day's facing, what all modern college coaches face, with these players making this kind of money. You've got to keep them focused. You've got to keep them balanced. And I think for Ryan, the way he's doing it, he's doing a lot of best on best. He is. We've got some position battles that are open. He's really kind of challenging the guys. It's interesting. He's not positioning this thing as like, a lot of people like to use the example about how this, season's like a marathon and it's a long race. And, he's viewing it as like a series of short sprints and trying to put them all together. And I think, so far they were able to take that first step, improving from game 1 to game 2. But I'm going to really be interested to watch to see how they do after the bye week. That's going to be really interesting to me because, you've got guys going out of town, you've got guys doing all sorts of different things. And you're going to have 2 weeks of people telling them that they're unbeatable, that they're just, a juggernaut. Will they be able to respond to that and come back with a solid performance against Marshall? I think it's going to be a really good challenge for them.
Yeah, like I said, I've said it 1,000 times that the schedule sets up amazingly well for Ohio State this year because you come back against Marshall and, they got to stay sharp. But if they have a hiccup and don't have the greatest game, then they can get beaten to death again in films like they did last week. And then you go Michigan State, at Michigan State, so you got a road test. They've got a fantastic freshman receiver. I mean, he's not JJ, but he's right below JJ probably in that class. And then, you got Iowa, they're tough, and Iowa's, scoring more, but they still choked it up at home versus Iowa State this past week. Shout out Matt Campbell. And then the big bad Ducks come to town. So this is an exciting little stretch here, but I cannot impress upon you how good the schedule sets up for the Buckeyes. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And again, after Oregon, you get another bye week. And like I said, if you said, Kirk, you get to pick where the bye weeks are, I'd say I wouldn't have one this early, but I would definitely want one after Oregon. Like because you have to fly out there. I've made a big talk about 7 hours across the country is it's not fun. So yeah, we'll get into some more of that. We're sending some super chats.
No, hold on. No, hold on. I was going to say you were describing coming back from the West Coast, and you were talking about how your body's beat up, and you're on the plane, and you're doing all this. And when you were talking, I thought you were describing you after a weekend in Vegas or something like that, not after a football game or something.
I'm just comatose then. I mean, I don't I usually, well, I mean, when you're flying back on Southwest, you can drink some Jack and Diet Cokes and kind of, keep that edge on you. But when you're flying commercial, this is something that sucked. And I used to always bring a little hooch on the plane on the ride home from the football games at Ohio State. Cause when I tore my knee up at Penn State, my knee hurt like hell. And I had steak and Tylenol at but then I had some Crown and Coke to kind of take the edge off a little bit. A lot of us did that. We take a little hooch on the plane because then, you got to understand a lot of you guys are athletes or have been athletes. When you're severely dehydrated and then you have to sit on and again, we used to have the worst charter jets in the world. And again, I know, cry me a river, Kirk, cry about your charter jet, but it was the worst plane in the world. It was terrible. It was Miami airplanes.
Kirk and the WNBA players complaining about their charters. It's
but they legit the planes that they have now.
You're Angel Reese, man. You're like
a I am. That's fine. But our planes sucked. These things. I thought we were gonna fall out of the sky because these things are so bad. These are the soul plane flying through the air. But I just. We're on these things and they used to suck and the seats weren't comfortable and whatever. So whatever. But, don't cry for me, Argentina. I know, big, bad, scholarship athlete, big, poor scholarship athlete, but the flight sucked. So I was like, well, how can I make the flight a little bit more fun? Trust would let us drink, pop on the flight home. So, I'm like, man, give me a Crown and Diet. And I'd be a big old Crown and Diet and have maybe about 4 of them and kind of knock out on the flight home. And, it just, again, it takes the edge off because when your body hurts, and again, I tore my knee up at Penn State. So like I was dying. I was just, because when you hurt your knee, again, I can't imagine. Now, Jordan Love was probably in first class when he's flying back from Brazil. But, when I was flying back in that crappy charter plane and my knee was all screwed up, like it sucked, man. Because I had to try to keep my knee straight on this little box. But it just, I don't know. I mean, honestly, the best ever was like when we used to beat Michigan. We beat them in 05, beat them in 07. I know we haven't beaten Michigan in a couple years up there. But when we would beat them, we all had like our little like party favors because we would ride the bus home. And you want to talk about a fun bus ride, like beating Michigan in Ann Arbor and then riding the bus home and us all, having our little cocktails on the way home was like, that was a blast. You want to talk about like, what is college football all about? It's beating the tar out of Michigan, smoking a cigar in the locker room, and then heading home. Like that was the funny thing. Is like when I got busted for smoking a cigar in 06 and they like tarred and feathered me, I was like, we do this every year. It's like the Tennessee, Alabama thing where we'd always smoke cigars, And then I did it at the press conference, and it was on like the cover of ESPN, that sucked. But I literally was like, I finally got that cigar lit. I mean, my hands were all pruny from my gross, disgusting gloves, and my hands were hurt, and I was dehydrated, felt like trash. And I had these crappy matches. So I didn't have a torch, which killed me. So I finally got that cigar lit. And then Steve Staff's like, Kirk, you got to go do media. And I'm like, ugh, I just got the cigar lit. All I want to do is smoke this damn cigar. We just beat the 1-2 Michigan game. And I said, screw it. I'm going to go smoke it at the press conference. So I roll up there and I'm just smoking on the cigar and I'm talking to Pat Forty and all these national media guys. And they're like dying laughing. And I'm like, they're like, where'd you get the cigar? And I was like, I don't know. Gonzo got it. He's Cuban. I mean, figure it out. He's got folks. So, but I mean, those things were fire cigars. And I'm telling you, like, I didn't feel bad about it. And then the next day, you would have thought I robbed Fort Knox or something. Cause I'm like, I smoked the cigar. I'm like 21 years old. I'm smoking a Cuban cigar. It was delicious. And I don't feel bad about it. People still give me cigars because they thought it was the funniest thing of all time. And I was like, well, if any of you guys ever beat Michigan on the football field as a player, like, and you want to smoke a cigar, I'd be like, have at it. Because I mean, I'm telling you, when you do something that fun and that cool, like, you deserve to smoke a cigar. Maybe go to Waffle House afterwards. I don't know. Maybe that's me. Maybe have some Patron with Troy Smith, and then this is me. All right. Do you have any thoughts on that, Nevada? Big mean Kirk crying. Big mean Angel. You call me Angel Reese? God.
You are Angel Reese. Like,
yeah, you're Rebecca Lobo. That's who you are.
Oh yeah,
horse face.
Horse face. That's the spawn of Nicole Auerbach. Rebecca.
Oh
Lobo.
God.
No. I just like, I'm not a cigar guy, but I went through my cigar phase when the cigar bars were like really popular, and like Bruce Becker used to own a place called Arizona Charlie's in Vegas. He used to have these Monte Cristos, and those were like so good. Those good Cuban cigars, they really are different, man. They really are different. It's yeah. But you complaining about your charter plane? Wah, our charters weren't nice enough. Wah.
Oh God!
Did you guys when you guys rode the bus? Did you guys ever stop at like a Steak and Shake with like 80 guys like piling out and jump in the restaurant or anything like that?
No, we did. So this is something that's hilarious because this is how cheap we used to be. We used to bus to half the Big Ten stadiums. We would bus to Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, Indiana. Like if it was within 4 hours, we were busing. So we'd load the bus up, and then like halfway through, we'd stop at a rest stop. We'd all get out and hit the room and walk around for a second. But I was like, this is the funniest thing ever. Like Ohio State, like, let's go jump on the Greyhounds and boogie on down. But it was like, but I mean, like, I don't think they do that anymore. I think now they fly everywhere. But I guess it's fine to bus to like Indiana because it's a 3-hour bus ride. So by the time you load up a plane with 300 people, it's like, because when we fly everywhere, there's like the team, which is 70 people, and then there's the coaching staff, which is like 30 people, the trainers, like 30 people, strength coach, whatever. And then there's like 200 people that I have no idea who they are. Obviously Paul Keels and Jim Lachey are on the flight. They're allowed, but then there's this like just random athletic directors, associate to the associate athletic directors. The compliance morons are on there that don't do anything and are worthless. And then there's a bunch of boosters. And then like as I got older, I recognized who those guys were. But they want to fly on the team jet, and I was like, God, that sucks. I won't want to fly with us. I mean, if they said, Kirk, we want you to fly to Michigan this year, I'd be like, there's no chance. I'll drive. If I'm getting on a plane, it's going to Vegas. I ain't flying to Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, or any of those other crap holes, because it's just
you guys should have taken like a train, be like Abraham Lincoln or something like that. Where
take
you guys,
take an Amtrak.
That would have been awesome. Stopping all those little cities all the way around.
Maybe in like Europe, but not in America. Like, I'm not taking no Amtrak to Ann Arbor. But no, like I said, we used to bus all these things. I was like, this is welcome to the big time. Load up the bus. We were like, what was it? The baseball movie, Bull Durham. That's what I felt like. No, Bull Durham.
No, more like a league of their own. That's
I'm Marla Hooch.
You're
Marla Hooch. Angel Reese Hooch. I love how I called it Angel Reese. Talk about things you don't talk about in pre-show.
Oh my God.
Let's bust a film. Let's bust a plate on. I know. I'm crying about our Chargers. Our Chargers did suck though. They were terrible. And you know who changed it all? Who's awesome? Is Urban. Urban got on our buses. The first time Urban Meyer, I'm just gonna tell you, like we drove from the Woody Hayes to the golf course. So a lot of you guys that are familiar with the campus, like the Woody Hayes Athletic Center is literally a 4-minute drive to the golf course. And we have a police or I don't know if we had a police escort then. Like with Trust, there's no way we had a police escort because it's stupid to have a police escort for a 4-minute ride on a random Friday. But with Urban, man, we took the campus cabs buses, which are these old crappy buses that circle around the campus and drop the kids off, and you can just kind of tool around campus on this. And like we rode those things one time, man, and Urban had like an absolute fit. And so he demanded that we get like charter buses to drive 3 minutes to the golf course and then 3 minutes to the Blackwell, the hotel we stayed at. And I was like, this is the funniest and biggest waste of money I've ever seen in my life. So like we got on these things, man, and we're on these like pristine luxury motor coach things to go for like 2.5 minutes like down the road. And I'm just like, we just wasted like $3,000, because like the little cheap cabs buses, which get you there just fine. Like they're not real pretty, but they get around and they're fine. And I never thought anything of it, but Urban's like, oh no, we got to have the luxury motor coach to take us for the 2-minute drive to the golf course and then the 2-minute drive to the Blackwell. And again, I love Urban because like that's what he's like. He's like, dude, we're gonna have the best everything. I don't care what it costs. Gene, go find more money. I don't care. Anytime Urban wants something, it's Gene, go find money. I don't care. Don't cry to me. So when Urban showed up and he was that Miami airplane, man, he was like, we're getting better planes. And guess what? Urban Meyer got us a better plane. So shout out Herbs, my dog. All right, let's break the plate on. Any other thoughts? You can call me Caitlin Clark now or something?
No, Caitlin wouldn't complain. Angel Reese, Chargers not good enough.
Angel Reese she's the GOAT. She's the best. She might be the best thing to ever happen in women's basketball. Angel Reese.
Oh God,
she's talented. She can rap and she's a fashionista. All right, here's my boy, Showtime, Mr. Too Slippery, Brandon Innis, hitting the deep one again. We got the first O-line in. Protection's great, but Brandon is really coming on. I mean, he is a crowd favorite. Contested catch here, nice ball by Will Howard. Real easy. I mean, against the MAC team, but the protection is fantastic here. Nice, easy work by Josh Fryer. Pockets nice and clean. It's a 7-man protection, so it better be clean with 7 guys. Austin Seyerveld, makes a nice, easy pocket, nice, easy throw for Will. Will doesn't have to move off his spot at all. Nice and firm in here. Nice arc here. I mean, again, the protection's great. It should be great versus the MAC team, but our backs in here. Tight ends in here, everything's clean. And BI, who's really coming on, and he is a ball of fire out there. He honestly can't play enough at this point. I think you got to keep rotating him in. But again, it's hard when you've got Carnell and JJ and Emeka. But Nevada, talk about Brandon Innis, because I think that he's a guy. First 2 games, like his stock has soared. We knew that he was what he was, and he's that guy. But again, I love him on punt returns. I'd put him on kick returns too, and just keep keep just doing the thing, because he is an explosive cat. And again, he's in a weird way, he's like kind of like an emotional leader, which is weird for a sophomore that doesn't start, but he's on the leadership committee. And, when he talks, people listen. And he's a guy that he is not scared to call dudes out. He's not scared to set a standard. He's not scared to talk trash to the defense. Like, again, you need some guys like that are energy balls that are going to just kind of, inflict their emotions on everybody else, because you don't need everybody. Because like JJ, who's a dog, but he's not as talkative as Brandon. Brandon is a nonstop chatter machine, which makes practice absolutely hilarious, because him and Davison about kill each other every day. But I think that's good. Like, I think you need some of that, because then when you're trying to kill each other all day, and then all of a sudden you can like turn the dogs on your opponent, then everything I think works out much better. But what are your thoughts on Brandon? Because again, I don't think he has a ceiling at this point, and I think that as he keeps progressing, he's not as good as JJ, but he's kind of right behind him. He's just not as physically imposing as JJ, because nobody is. What are your thoughts on Brandon?
Well, if you guys that are regular listeners remember the second half of fall camp, we were talking about how Brandon Innis was making a big push, and we were like, buy every bit of Brandon Innis stock you can. He's a guy that's really, really on the uptick. But I totally agree with you about how he's a tone setter. And I think it started with his punt returns. His kind of fearlessness on the punt returns and his doing his things. And it kind of set a message to these other guys. And, Brandon is a guy that isn't afraid to tell people about it. He's the anti JJ Smith. JJ Smith is the silent assassin. Brandon is never shuts up. And I think the sky's the limit for him. I mean, the only thing that's going to restrict Brandon Innis, frankly, is Emeka, Carnell, and JJ, that we've got a lot of mouths to feed. But he's a big time. He's a big time player. He kind of made his bones as a punt returner, but is seeing more and more action as a wide receiver. And that's why, like I said, for next year, when people were talking about like, well, what's going to be next year? Well, next year's Mecca's gone, but JJ, Carnell, and Brandon, I mean, and all those guys are a year older, and then you got the young guys coming up behind them. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about how deep and how talented this team is. But in terms of guys that aren't in the starting guys, I mean, Brandon is definitely the leader of the pack, and a guy that I'm really, really excited about.
Yeah, and like Brandon is a guy that they consider a starter, because Brandon would start on every other team in the country, literally. And this is the only team in the country that he wouldn't be one of the top 3 receivers on, because our receivers are just that good. So they don't treat him like he's a backup. They treat him like he's a starter. And he's a guy that I think that when they get down to it, they get to the brass tacks, like they're going to look at the snap share, and he'll have just as many snaps as the rest of the guys, but he'll just be doing it at different positions and, trying to help out and rest of those guys. Bust out another play. This is, I mean, like you want to talk about just like poetry in motion. Give me 1 second. Let me get this pulled up. But the Chip Kelly RPO stuff, when you watch it, I really don't know how to defend it. It is it like literally brings me tears of joy when I watch his RPOs, because I sit there and if I'm a defensive coordinator, I just don't know. I don't know what you can do. Because again, this is the evolution of offense. It's basically, this is like the new wave of the triple option, where you read a backside linebacker, and depending on what he does, you're either throwing it or you're handing it. And I'll break this down, because this is, oh my God, this is so good to watch. So this is 35-0. We've got the crew still in the game. So here you got you got your RPO. So your RPO is here, and you're reading this guy. You're reading this linebacker. There's your read key. So as as Will Howard gets the ball, he's looking at him, and if he bails and he takes this throw, then he's handing it. So why is it that simple? So the way this is drawn up is you got a double team here. So this is just a front side zone. Guard tackle climb into this guy. Center is reaching here, and then over here you're arcing out to here. So again, like this guy he's basically unblocked. He's taking his read, arc release here. But you get this this blocking scheme where on the left side of the line they're going left, blocking zone left. On the right side of the line they're blocking zone right. And then Will Howard is reading him, and so when he bails out here, then all of a sudden, as soon as this guy turns and sprints, he's handing it. So then out here, you've got one-on-one. This is the guy who has to make the play somehow. So you hand it here, and you see the blocking. I mean, the only, and this isn't bad, but Seth, he reaches him. He's going to reach him here, and this guy backdoors it. So he's never going to make this play. Like when you're handing this off, this guy, unless he's Usain Bolt, is not going to make that play. Not versus our backs. Good edge. Double team is perfect. Again, this is literal perfection right here by our right guard, right tackle, by Tigra and Josh Fryer. They get here, and reach up. And again, is he affected by this zone to the left scheme? Yes. When he sees the left guard and these guys all working this way, like he's hesitating for a split second. You see him kind of pop up and look, and then he's like, "What's going on? These guys are going this way. These guys are going this way." You've got the throwback here, then you got the running back coming here, and you got the edge here. So, I mean, it just takes that little hesitation, and it makes this block a million times easier. So Josh Fryer actually gets up here, does a great job getting his hands on the guy. Tigra does a great job hooking this guy, working the stretch, and it's literally untouched. So, like, that's how good this is, And then you've got your receiver, he's running off and going after the safety, taking the corner with him. I mean, this is literal perfection, and Brandon's running a little, so like sometimes you don't have to block a guy. If you're just Brandon, you just run a little flare here, then you're going to occupy him. He has to stay man on you. So, the ball is handed off. He's covering him man. He's running to the safety. So like these guys don't have, I mean, so then Brandon, once it's handed, he turns and blocks and does a great job. Doesn't touch the guy. Doesn't have to. So again, the scheme here is, I can't even describe how good this is. And again, people say, "Oh, it's Western Michigan, whatever." But when you're a defensive coordinator or a defensive player, and you're a linebacker or a safety, and you have to defend all of that, you've got the left side of the line going left, right side of the line going right. You've got JJ Smith at the top, running the little post deal, little slant deal, excuse me. And then you've got you got Trey coming across. I mean, it's so hard. And you got your receivers, you got one running the flare, you got one running, and they're just disguising it because they're not going to get the ball. They're just running like their normal pass pattern. So the DBs think it's a pass because these guys are coming off and running routes. Then all of a sudden they convert it into blocking, and then all of a sudden our receivers stock block, and again, like Trey doesn't even get touched. Doesn't even touch. There's barely anybody even on the screen when he goes in the end zone. So when you do all of that scheme, and again, we talk all the time. Why does our running game look so clean? Because the scheme is incredible. It really is. Like you watch this stuff, and it's just like, because again, when I watch stuff, I'm just like, if I was a defensive coordinator and you told me, Kirk, call the perfect defense to stop this, I don't know what I'd call. Kirk, you get to call the perfect defense. I mean, I guess like in a perfect world, I call a blitz off the front, the wide edge off of the, like the Sam linebacker, the nickel coming off the edge. But that's it. I mean, and if you don't guess that, man, it's going to be curtains. It's going to be a long day. So again, I love Chip Kelly's offense, and I hope that he's here for the rest of my life. I know he won't be, but I mean, that is so fun to watch. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I plays like this, I just contrast it to recent years. You don't have to go back 5-10 years, just the last few years, and just go, when's the last time we had guys just pop free and walk in the end zone? Like that never happened, man. We'd always have to get it down to the 1 yard line and then get it in, and then they'd go to review and we check it, and just everything was hard. Everything was hard, or it was moments of brilliance by our generationally talented quarterbacks or something like that. And if that didn't happen, or somebody didn't make this an unbelievable catch, then we weren't moving the ball. And now, like, offense just gets real easy. Now, again, I know it's the MAC teams, but even against the better teams, this stuff's going to work because you're creating indecision where there was none before. Whereas before, the linebackers could just line up and tee off against us and just get to the spot. Now you can't do that anymore. You might guess right, but if you guess wrong, you're going to give up a big one. And if you're not exactly perfect, and this is what we were hearing from the defense all fall camp. The defensive guys talking to starters on the defense, they say, Nevada, this offense is so difficult to defend. It's hard to even follow the ball. It's hard to even know where the ball is. And you hear that enough from enough guys, and you're like, wow, man, this is going to be something special. This is going to be a lot of fun. And now we're seeing it. So yeah, I'm a little bummed that it's an off week this week, just because I hate bye. I know bye weeks are great for the players, but as a fan, they stink. Um, but you know, I can't wait to see. I'm so excited about this team. I just can't wait to see this defense roll out there, and I can't wait to see this offense roll out there and unveil more stuff, because it really is a treat to watch.
Yeah, I mean, not all bye weeks are created equal. Like this would be, if I was a player, this would be more of an annoyance of a bye week. Like when you go in like week 5 or 6, then that's a good bye week. That's usually when we had like my last 2 years, we didn't even have like 06, 07, we didn't even have a bye week because we got done so early. So like 06, 07, we went the whole distance, man. We went 12 straight weeks and it was fine. Like, I mean, I didn't like, you miss the best part about the bye week is getting to go back to your high school and watch your high school team play if they're playing. That's what a lot of these guys like to do because you love to support a lot of those kids are a year younger than you or 2 years younger than you, so you know them and you can go out and support them and see a lot of your teachers and stuff. Like I used to love going home just for a night and see everybody. And then the thing that was also cool is I'd watch college football on Saturday. Like I just watch it as a fan because you guys know I'm a diehard football fan. I love watching football all day, every day. Watch every game that's on usually, and it's something where when you don't have to play, man. I remember in '05 I was watching Michigan, Iowa, and I was just like, I cannot wait to play these guys because like we're gonna smash these guys. We owed those guys something fierce after what we went through. So. Nevada, I'm going to break down one more and we will get into the super chats. So we have got, this is, we talk about plays where you don't really have to block anybody. This is one of those plays. So here we just run a bootleg where, basically these guys do what's called elephants on parade. They all go this way. But again, these guys don't really have to block anybody. And, we fake the old stretch play into the boundary right here. And, Devin Wheels out here and you've got Brandon working back over here. Here's our boy Innis again, working right over here, right into the big soft part of the coverage. Loops over there. Nice ball by Devin. Again, I love calling plays like this naked. If it's a play that he likes, just because, when you've got the second O-line in the game, it's a nice play to call because you don't have to block anybody. So you're not going to put someone on an island versus a potentially good player. And like when we played the Texas Longhorns famously, we put the second O-line out there. We called nakeds and stuff like that, where those guys didn't really have to block anybody. They didn't have to block like Brian Robeson or Frank Ocamp, like one-on-one, like, their first play in the game, because that could be disastrous if those guys weren't up for that. Because all the guys on Texas's front that were NFL draft picks. So you don't want to get those guys in there and have it get a little ugly. All right, super chats. Well, that is really.
No, hold on. That last play, that was the play. Remember we were talking about the my favorite play where we bootlegged it and we had three guys at all three levels. That's the play. And
was it
when you've got literally three receivers, you look when Innis caught the ball, you had two guys, you had a receiver kind of at a medium depth and a receiver to low depth, and then Will Howard's got a run option on top of that. So it's like, I mean, you've got four options off of that play, off that bootleg action right there, and I love that play. That might have been my all-time favorite play of the night. Little silly play, but I love stuff like that because just look at the receivers. Look, count them off there. You've got one. Yeah, hold on.
You've got 1, 2, 3, and then the deep guy.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. You got 1, 2.
Yeah. So you really could go here,
levels, right
here.
Yeah. Or run.
Yeah. Or run.
So it's like you got a triangle set up there, and it's just like that. That is so hard to defend right there. And again, that's the kind of stuff that I've been screaming for the past few years, and we never seem to run stuff like that. And now we're running it. So it's like Chip Kelly heard my plaintive wails, and now he's running it for us. So, but he might have heard you complaining about the charter, so he might have confused that for my plaintive wails about the thing. So there's about the same thing,
Soul plane, baby. Let's ride. Soul plane. Urban got on that thing one time. He's like, never again. I love Urban, man, because he was the ultimate diva. I mean, he made like The ultimate divas look like nothing, man, because he is the best. Dave Mathis, thanks for the deuce. Do the refs ever have to answer for bad calls? Nevada OH?
I
I think it depends, but I think that they're graded every week. Because again, with gambling and stuff, they're everyone's really aware of the Tim Donaghy type stuff with the point shaving and whatever. So I think that they have to answer. Now it's not always made public, but I know that those guys and NBA officials. I mean, I know some people. I know girls married to an NBA official, and literally it's like they get graded after every game, and it's not like a like a take home test grade. This is like a legitimate, like, why did you make this call? Why did you not make this call? Like, I mean, and there's a scoring system. And if you get too low, you're out. So, it's not an easy gig, but, kind of is what it is. Mike Green, thank you for the 10. How do you tell a recruit, hey, come here, even though I don't have a contract, the recruit? Wait, I thought it was a video signing one. Nope, that was a fake contract scum. Nevada, what are your thoughts on that? How do you tell recruits to come to Michigan when they won't even like let you sign your contract?
Yeah, I mean that's been the whole story of this thing, but about all the uncertainty, and Michigan wants to make all this stuff sound like it's normal, and none of it's normal. It's not normal to have your head coach. Oh, it's like, oh, it's just paperwork. We're just gonna it's gonna get signed. No, no, it's not normal. Being under investigation from the NCAA and having the NOA lurking out there, and all this uncertainty. Uncertainty is the killer of anything. It's the killer of business. It's certainly the killer of college football teams, because it affects recruiting, it affects donations, it affects NIL, it affects sponsorships, ticket sales. Everything that you're doing is killed by uncertainty. And but what choice do they have? They can't give a guaranteed $20 million contract to Sharon Moore, who very well could be suspended for a year from the NCAA and be given a multi-year show cause for trying to destroy evidence in an investigation when under probation. So they've got difficult choices to make, and Moore's got difficult choices to make. So the best thing they can do, and I'm hearing they're actively trying to do this, is get this behind them and get this thing done. Take your multi-year bowl ban, take your vacation, hope that you can, through the vacation process, that you can somehow hold on to your college football playoff championship, and then move from there. But they don't really have a lot of good options right now. You're muted, Mr. Barton.
Sorry. Larry Daniels, thank you for the 5. Thanks for being Ultra member as well. Is there anything up north that isn't run shady? I don't think so at this point. Again, I don't know what Ward Manuel has to do short of shooting up an orphanage. Like, I mean, I can't believe he's still there. Like I said, if I ran that place, I'd be like, you guys are all gone. Coaches are gone. AD's gone. Basketball, all the basketball. I mean, they already cleaned out the basketball program. Hockey right behind it. So I don't know, Nevada. Is there anything up north that isn't run shady in your opinion?
No, it's a mess. And it didn't always used to be this way. I mean, Michigan was never run like this before. And I mean, Ward Manuel's kind of been a useful idiot in this thing, but he's been the guy that's been fiddling while Michigan's been burning. And a lot of the fan base hates him, but I think they hate him for the wrong reason. They hate him for the Harbaugh stuff, and that was frankly the only thing he did right. They should hate him because he's incompetent at his job. But I think they're getting that picture now.
Totally agree. W Buckeye, appreciate you, my man. Thank you for the 10. Hope you're doing good. I noticed that Trey Henderson Saturday had an interesting Bible verse under his eye black. Proverbs 10:9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out cheaters. Ooh, that is a good catch. That's a really good catch. Nevada, your thoughts on that? Because you think that that's aimed at our buddies up north?
Yeah, I'd have to see the exact verse, but I would imagine if that is indeed what it was, and I don't have any reason to doubt it. Yeah, I look. I think everybody knows, and you're seeing the narrative change. We've talked about this. We knew that this would happen. We told everybody, just be patient. It's going to happen, and understand this is all happening before the NOA is made public. Once the NOA is made public, man, it will be the subject of 50 news stories nationally, and yeah, Michigan wants desperately to avoid that. That's why they've been keeping this thing under wraps. They've done a great job with the Michigan media in terms of you know getting into stay off the Freedom of Information Act requests and delaying the release of this thing. Um, but yeah, it's turning, and you're hearing it from more. I mean, everybody knows they cheated, and you saw how that vaunted defense did this against Texas when they didn't have that little that little cheating Geppetto out there like calling out the plays. They got humiliated. So, we all know now.
Yeah, I agree. Good for Trey. It's funny they banned that. I mean, you weren't allowed to write anything on your eye black. I mean, because the NCAA sucks. So like your guys just write whatever on their thing, and Tebow obviously did his John 3:16 thing or whatever, but they banned it for a while. So obviously like they're not paying or they don't care anymore, but they did for a hot minute because again the NCAA does completely suck. Poober12, thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member, and thank you for the 10. Hope you're doing good, my friend. Scum fan today. Oregon is beatable. Yeah, Gabriel only throws to the left and makes it easier to defend me. So what you're saying is none of the other teams' plays is a huge advantage. Crickets. Yeah, I mean it's past the point of comprehension. And again, like when you heard Cade Stover talk about they knew the screen sign or whatever, like that's a huge advantage. Huge. Excuse me. And people that say it was a 3% advantage, they've never played football, they've never coached football, and they don't know football. They're just completely irrelevant in life if they say that like it's only that small of an advantage. Again, said it 1,000 times. If you play poker against somebody and you know their exact hands, then guess what? I mean, it would be like if you played Clue. Everyone's played the board game Clue with Colonel Mustard and stuff. If you know who's in everyone else's hands, if you know all the other cards, then you can immediately end the game and just guess, well, I know Miss Peacock killed Mr. Body in the conservatory with the revolver because you'd know everything right away. Like it's the same difference. You have all the information. Like it doesn't take some genius. Oh, it's a run to the right. Okay, well, blitz to the right. Run to the left. Okay, blitz to the left. Bring the safeties immediately. It's not a pass. Bring the safeties out immediately. Again, we broke that play down. I'm like, there isn't a defense in this universe in that low red area inside the 10-yard line that's going to let Marvin Harrison singled up with CJ Stroud at quarterback when it's 2nd and 9, and they bring a double safety blitz. Like, because he's not gonna run it on that unless he's trying to mix up his tendencies, which he did. So he hands it off, safeties crash down, nowhere to go because we're outnumbered in the box immediately because they know the plays. Duh. Nevada, your thoughts? Oregon is beatable because Dylan Gabriel only throws to the left, and this makes it easier to defend. So what you're saying is knowing the other team's plays is a huge advantage. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it was funny. There's an article by Dennis Dodd, like an interview with Connor Stallions and Stallions. And Stallions' defense on this whole thing is that while the rule says you can't advance scout, it didn't specifically say you can't advance film and have other people do it and send you I mean, it's so stupid. And why, that type of argument, there's so many holes in it. Like the idea that that's going to really carry water with the NCAA is just, it's crazy. That and the idea that you could steal signs off the television are two of the most ridiculous things that I've ever heard. But Dennis Dodd, I don't say he laps it up, but he kind of gives oxygen to that stuff, and I think a lot of those guys that are in the well, you have to, even though you know what's coming, you have to stop it anyway or whatever it is. I think they're just trying to be provocative because I can't believe that anybody with a functioning brain would really believe that that's not a huge advantage. And I know that as a lawyer, you have to come up with some defense. But saying, because it doesn't specifically say you can't send people to film and then sending the film, that's okay rather than doing it yourself, doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. And but people make the OJ team made the most ridiculous defenses too, and that worked out the first time, not the second time. But hey, OJ, rest in Hades or wherever you are right now, OJ.
I will say, like, when people try to like you know, play these gymnastics, these mental gymnastics, you know, to say that what Connor Salian did either wasn't a violation or didn't matter because it wasn't a big deal because we still got to stop it. I just call those people the smooth brains. There is not a single wrinkle on their entire brain when they say that kind of stuff. Like I would love to cut their head open and see how smooth that brain looks because there's just nothing there. I mean, just like complete, like you probably open their head up and like you crack it open and like moths would fly out of it, you know, and then there'd just be like a little puff of smoke because that's about all there'd be in there. Because when you say that, you know, Connor Salians, because again, Connor Salians lives in a different dimension. Like he lives in some dimension where, no, I didn't do it. Oh, it couldn't have been me. You know, why? Well, you're allowed to scout. There's no law that says you can't advance video. Well, is there a law that says you're allowed to stand on like Western Michigan's sideline during the game or Central Michigan, excuse me? I'm like, I mean, dude, like, come on, man. Like I said, at some point you just cop to it. It's like, well, you know, I wasn't trafficking drugs. I wasn't murdering people. Like, you know, there's no law that says if I order someone to murder them, that means that I murdered them. Like, yes, there is. There actually is a law that says you can't do that. You know, there's no law that says you can't. Like, I mean, again, he loves this because now he's famous in the same way as like, you know, the other morons, Steve Bartman. Like he's going to be one of these figures in time that will forever be known as just a complete idiot. Because of what he did. And again, it's funny when like, you know, Dave Portnoy, who's a moron, defends him and all these people come out and, oh, this, you know, poor Cotter. I'm like, dude, like he knew what he was doing. You know, like these guys would be sad, like in Casino when they break the guy's hand with the hammer, like that guy knew what he was cheating. And then, you know, Pesci hits his hand with a hammer and breaks it. Like, yeah, I mean, Dave Porter would be crying and probably paying for his medical bills. Oh, he didn't mean to cheat. Oh, he cheated. Sorry, you got caught. And honestly, you were exceptionally sloppy with it. Like, you're like, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go stand on the sideline in Central Michigan. I'm going to wear spy glasses and I'm going to wear, you know, my little hat. I'm going to have the not the right shoes and nobody will ever notice ever, you know? And he's just a little too slick for it. And sure as can be, he got caught and again, he should be banned forever. And now he's coaching at a terrible team and lost like 80-0 last week. So congratulations, Connor. 0-1 as a head coach. All right, Nevada, we can boogie on out of here. Any final thoughts?
No, just this will be a fun week for the Buckeyes. I think, you know, Ryan's always got unique challenges. And I think the challenges of, you know, keeping guys on the level and, you know, kind of creating new, different things for them to kind of get through when they've got so many distractions. Everybody's telling them they're great, and they can fly anywhere in the world that they want to at the drop of a hat with all these NIL riches. I think he's got his work cut out for him, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun. I think these are the fun weeks to kind of see how I like to watch Ryan's maturation as a coach to see how he responds to these challenges and what he has up his sleeve. And we'll see how he gets after it, and we'll see how they do against Marshall next week. So I'm excited.
I would love if like one of these kids would like fly to like Tahiti and stay there for like 4 hours and then fly all the way back. Hey, I spent my bye week in Tahiti. Or, like, you know, that would be hilarious. Like the ultimate flex, or these kids like fly to Europe for like 7 hours and then fly straight home because it's tight. I mean, they got to be back Sunday morning. And again, you know, like if you want to play with it, like I mean, I do one thing. Like on the bye week, I just gassed the car up and went back to Massillon. I ain't flying nowhere because I'm not trying to get stuck. You know, when the airports and all the craziness is going on, like I was always within a drivable distance. And if my car fell apart, broke down, whatever, I could, you know, get down there, have someone pick me up, whatever. But yeah, it's it'll be interesting to see some of these guys because they're going to boogie on out here on. I believe I don't know if they can cut out here Thursday night, Friday. You know, the coaches go and recruit this weekend. Like that's the thing is. You know, the one benefit to this is these coaches can go get on the road and go see some of the top prospects and go to the games on Friday, you know, pick their spots, you know, just get out on the road. And there's sometimes where, you know, I don't know if Ryan's having skeleton practices, but you'll have skeleton practices where you'll send a couple of coaches out on the road, and then they just kind of assimilate their drill work in with different groups. Because again, I think that's an effective thing to do. Like, I mean, you could probably have, you know, I'm not saying that it's on Brian Hartline out, but if you sent Brian Hartline out, you could have, you know, Ryan Day coach the receivers for a day, and Brian can go check on, whoever. I don't know if they'd send him out to California to see Chris Henry Jr., but that's like, whatever's the best use of your time is what you need to do. Justin Frye could go hit somewhere, go get a tackle, go see Micah or one of the guys that are still on the board. So be interesting. All right, Nevada, I'm going to wrap this thing up. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. Thank you for being a huge part of the show. If you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate you guys for being a huge part of the show. If you want to do something fantastic, follow us on Apple Podcasts. Search for Buckeye Scoop. Click subscribe. Again, that takes 3 seconds to do. And it is a huge, huge deal for us because we're trying to grow our audio format. And it is working. So thank you guys for that. And also, you can click on Spotify as well. So follow us on both formats. Completely free. And it really helps us out. So thank you for that. Shout out who you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. Thank you again for making this another monster show. It's a huge show because you guys make it one. So we never forget that. Oops, excuse me. And again, I just appreciate all that you guys do. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Go Bucks.